Hayden Paddon dominated the three-day rounds of the championship at Rally New Zealand and went straight to championship contention, 4th place in the standings. But it's Dean Sumner who's been Mr. Consistent so far and leads going into round 3 Rally Whangarei. Emma Gilmore's best placed to challenge Sumner, but the season's not finished just yet for Chris West. Yes, it's an international title on the line, so it's high stakes at Whangarei. Round 3 at the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. Once again, the rally will centre around the beautiful Marina Basin in downtown Whangarei, but the official start has taken over the shopping precinct on Friday night as the drivers meet the fans and get ready for 2 days of intense competition. Dean Sumner has the points advantage, with Paddon unlikely to contest any more rounds this year, and he knows that a top 3 result is all he needs to stay out in front.
Dean, a 19-point championship lead going into this round.
Yeah, still not enough to be comfortable, I think, so we're hoping to build on that this weekend. You need to sort of have like a 40-point lead before you can sort of sit back and relax, so we still need really to go for like a top 3 finish here and just be consistent, really.
And you're running 2 on the road as far as the championship is concerned, starting at number 7.
Yeah, so we're kind of hoping it's going to be wet tomorrow, so that it's sort of more an advantage, but if it's dry it's going to be a real disadvantage.
Hayden Paddon has a full international campaign in Europe which will keep him away from the rest of the championship, but the defending champ is here to prove that he's still New Zealand's #1 driver.
Yeah, obviously Rally New Zealand was a good event for us, so you know, some others had trouble and we just stayed out and had no problems and got some good points on the board, but you know, it's another round here, another 2 scoring leagues, and you know, if we can climb further up the points table, that'd be great.
With the Asia Pacific round here as well, which you're part of, you're running a fair way up the order.
Yeah, it's good, and actually for a change this year, you know, it may not work, you know, it may work into our favour a little bit, so it just depends a little bit on the weather. If it stays wet or damp, you know, it'll work well for us. There's a bit of gravel in places, but there's also a lot of mud and clay coming up through that gravel, so you know, the further up you are on the field, the better, and then obviously the repeat runs could get a bit messy.
Chris West is a former Rally Whangarei winner, and he'll need to repeat that to get his championship back on track.
It's easier to lead than to follow, so to speak, and you know, the idea is this weekend, especially with repeating the roads in the afternoons, is to try and make you know, as much of an advantage, if there is one, in the morning for you know, for the duration of the event.
And this rally could be the best chance that Emma Gilmore has to challenge Sumner.
As we know with rallying, anything can happen, and really we can only focus on our game and what we're doing. You know, we're happy with the car. We've done, you know, made some improvements, so we'll just be focusing on what we're doing, and you know, it's up to everyone else what they get up to.
The roads out here, by nature, it's quite critical to have good notes.
Yeah, good notes, and I'm lucky having Ben Atkinson join me for this event because Glenn wasn't available, and Ben, he's done a fantastic job so far, and you know, really great level of co-driving. He's just jumped in and totally up to speed straight away. So you know, so I'm confident that we'll do a good job out there tomorrow.
So as Hayden Paddon leads the Kiwis over the start ramp, let's check out what's in store with the Vantage Stage Preview.
Special Stage 1 Mid-High is the longest stage of the rally at 34 kilometres long. One thing we will have to watch though is in the middle of the stage there's a new dumping of thick gravel. This could make it quite difficult for some of the front running cars. Special Stage 2 Gill's High School is a new stage for this year, and a stage that's never been run in the past. Very technical stage, with a stage that just never really stops. There's always changes of rhythm, a few tarmac sections, and it's going to be a very, very technical stage. After 60 kilometres of special stages, it's going to be really important to keep an eye on our tyres before heading into the following stage, Otahi. Although it's only 10 kilometres long, it's still going to be really important to make sure our tyres are up to it, to make sure that we head back to the last stage before service, right on the pace. Following stage, Special Stage 4, is a super special stage in Whangarei at Poe Island. Although it's only 1.5 kilometres long, there is actually a lot of potential to lose a little bit of time here, especially with the hairpin, where there's quite a big dumping of thick gravel that's going to make it hard going. After service, we head back out to a repeat of the stages. Mid-High will be quite different now. It'll be very, very swept with a good hard base underneath. It should make it a lot faster for the repeat. Although if there has been a lot of rain, it could make it quite slippery in some sections. The next stage, Gill's High School, is I think one of the most tricky stages of this group. There's a few sections in it where there's quite a lot of mud, and this means that you have to make sure you've got tyres that are going to give you good grip in the muddy sections, yet are going to also last well in the hard base, faster sections and the other sections of the stages. Before we head back to Whangarei, we have another repeat of Otahi. This stage is a really nice stage. I think it's going to be real fun to drive. And although, it's right near the end of the day, it'll be interesting to see if there's going to be any positions changing. Last stage of the day is a super special stage around Poe Island in Whangarei. This stage will be pretty cut up by now, so it'll be really important to just look after your car a bit to make sure you make it to the finish.
And it's a brilliant sunny day to start the rally on Saturday morning, and it's a 34-kilometre stage to get us underway. Hayden Paddon, the first New Zealand car, but as this is also a round of the Asia Pacific Rally Championship, he's actually the third car to enter the stage. And Roger Davis, that could help out the Kiwi star.
Well, it could help out because Taguchi and Atkinson have started ahead of them, so they've swept some of the road. However, there's been some overnight rain, so the roads could be a little bit damp. And Hayden Paddon, well, he's taken a bit of a gamble because he's gone for a very soft Pirelli tyre. Now, if this pays off, he could get a jump on the field after this first stage.
Out to dominate today, Hayden Paddon. That's the only thing on his mind. His aim is to be the first in the APRC, first in New Zealand, first overall on this rally.
Oh, he's lucky there. Very lucky.
And turn it up first to survive the first moment as he heads back to Europe and hopefully back to the end of the stage.
Well, Hayden had the car right off the road and he really showed his skill getting the car back on the road.
And back on the pace because he's coming down to the finish and a record time. 18 minutes 31.8. Breaks the record set by Richard Mason last year. How's that? Now it's Dean Sumner, the next Kiwi on the road. He's a wild card entry up to score points in the APRC. Oh, what a wild ride!
Well, I don't know what's happening out there this morning. We saw Hayden Paddon have a near miss and now Dean Sumner. Well, the way he landed there too, he may have done a bit of damage to this car, but we'll see at the end of the stage if the car's okay.
And has he lost time too?
100.
Well, Dean doesn't need to take too many risks because he's got a 19-point championship lead. He's just got to stay consistent and ahead of Emma Gilmore. Don't worry about Hayden Paddon.
So a lucky start for both drivers, 19 minutes 22.5. Sloane Cox, another wild card entry for the APRC, so he started third Kiwi. Big break for the young Kiwi from Rotorua, trying to become a junior champion this year.
Well, Sloane Cox is the third Kiwi on the road, and you can already see a line in the road. And the other thing to notice here is how muddy it is, so it'll be very slippery on these stages this morning, and these drivers must treat it with caution.
And the young Kiwis' time's a shocker, 20 minutes 10.1. This is the other contender in the junior race. It's the local star, Ben Jagger. He has the support up here of all the Northland locals. Can he put in a top performance?
Well, Ben Jagger's been impressive at times in this new car. A little bit like Patrick Malley when he started in a Ford Fiesta, moved to the bigger car, the four-wheel drive car, and he is impressive. And I think this Ben Jagger's going to go a long way in the four-wheel drive section.
Ideal conditions for Jagger to show that he's a true championship contender. Time to get used to the Subaru from the Fiesta in the old days. Just hanging on to it there.
Well, he's getting a little bit loose in this section at the moment. Oh no, he's off the road. That's where Hayden Paddon went off.
And unfortunately for Ben Jagger, he's done some haymaking here. That's not what the local star wanted. Now Emma Gilmore, the first car after the APRC field had started, so she's running 13th on the road. Can she come close to Paddon's time and hopefully avoid the fence?
5 right, opens, tight and slight hug over crest. Hug 6 right.
Well, Emma Gilmore with the new co-driver Ben Atkinson, who used to co-drive for Cody Crocker in the Asia Pacific Championship.
30.
Well, we've seen Hayden Paddon already set stage records and really start to blitz the field. Emma Gilmore, she's on a very soft compound Pirelli tyre as well, so it'd be interesting to see what her time is.
Emma Gilmore looking good and sounding good in the Vantage Aluminium Subaru. Of course, being an international rally, the drivers can opt to run the more potent World Rally fuel rather than the 98 unleaded pump gas. Can't you take advantage of that?
Well, she has. She's the second fastest, 19.05. Not quite on Hayden's pace, but importantly, quicker than Dean Sumner.
Chris West started the season so well at Otago, but one DNF on day 2, and that rally has really put a dent in his points, so he'll be looking to try and get ahead of Gilmore and Sumner at least.
Well, a lot of experience in this car with Chris West and Chris Cobbin, who's the co-driver. Chris West has actually won up here before, So he'll be looking for a good run. Very interesting thing he's done this morning. He runs these Yokohama tyres, and traditionally they don't work very well in these conditions, these damp conditions. The very surprising thing is he has not cut his tyres this morning.
Let's see if that experience will count. Stage 1, day 1 rally, Whangarei. Coming down to the line for Chris West.
Plus, Fred right on finish 60.
Record stage time set by Hayden Paddon. Westy does 19 minutes, 06.4, just 1.4 behind Gilmore. Now, Richard Mason's first rally since crashing out of Rally New Zealand was, of course, back in May. Never has much luck up on these roads, retiring either with crashes or mechanical damage, so he's just out to get to that finish.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on Richard Mason today because he really has to put in a very good performance here to get some points, some good points in the championship. Really, he has to win today.
And always in the back of the mind will be the fact that he knows that this is his bogey rally. Often come here and he's always in good shape, going fast, and then bang, the unbelievable happens.
Well, he doesn't look very comfortable in the car at the moment, Clint.
Down to the finisher's time, 19 minutes. What's it going to be? 34.1. So a bit of a slow but steady start for Richard Mason. So far only Gilmore and West showing any pace near Paddon, but now the other challengers starting to match their times. First up, Glenn Inkster, whose pace matched Chris West over the first half of the stage.
Well, Glenn's been quite impressive in the last couple of events, and he's certainly shown a lot of pace now. And you can see in these shots he's carrying a lot of momentum through these corners. We may be up for a good stage time here, Clint.
5 opens.
Yeah. 19 minutes, 15.2, even though the finish got him by surprise. 10 seconds off Gilmore's pace, fourth fastest so far. Another challenger on his way here, Patrick Melly.
Well, we're just focusing on the steering wheel movement here. And Patrick, you can see he's working that car pretty hard. You see that yellow line? That's where it's straight up and down. And Patrick's got a fair bit of understeer in his car.
Not a bad time, though. 19 minutes, 12.6. That takes him to fourth. Jeff Argyle was again running his open class car at the back of the field, but that didn't stop him posting the fifth fastest time. Kingsley Thompson is another local Northland driver, but having a better time than Ben Jagger. He gained lots of experience from his PWRC debut at Rally New Zealand and was right on the pace here, seventh fastest, but just 12 seconds back from Gilmore.
17.
In fact, 10 drivers were within 30 seconds of Gilmore's second place time at the end of the stage, including Glenn Smith in 9th place. And Kieran Hall in 10th. But just look at the outstanding time by Hayden Paddon, a new stage record in another leg, 18:31.8. Emma Gilmore, the best of the rest. And just 0.2 of a second between Malley and Argyle.
And only 1.7 seconds between Glenn Inkster and Kingsley Thompson.
In 12th place and hoping to improve over the day was Matt Jansen, the 2009 junior and rookie champ. Now, he's a classic example of a driver with a real family team. His father and his brother, plus a couple of mates, help him prepare and run the car.
My family's been involved with me from the start. You know, it's great to have the support and backing from them to help us make it to the National Championship. My brother's one of the mechanics on the car, so he's down at the workshop a lot of weekends with us, helping build it and maintain the car. My father helped obviously financially back us into this move, and he was the first person I ever sat with in a rally car as a co-driver. That's how I all started out, and he eventually took a step back to help me come along in my rallying career.
When you're in the co-driver's seat, was that when you thought, well, I'm going to drive?
Yeah, that was, you know, sort of the first time we did a Dunlop Targa was actually our first event, and from that moment I was like, right, I'm going to do this. So we built myself a wee Datsun 1200, and that just went on from there into where we are today within 4 years. So a very long way and not a lot of time. Matt's been with us since I started basically in the wee Datsun. He's been helping service and build cars for us for quite some time, and again he's another one that knows every inch of the car, and we just couldn't do it without him. He's prepared to take more time off work and come up to these events early to get the car through scrutineering and get everything sorted. So really happy. Yeah, my grandfather Frank Millington, he was sort of one of my biggest supporters, and unfortunately a week and a half before Rally New Zealand he passed away from pneumonia. a bit of a shock to the family, and sort of that's sort of another reason why Rally New Zealand build-up wasn't quite as good, and he would have just loved to been here and seen what we could be doing with this, so it's just a big tribute to him.
Rally Whangarei and a brand new stage to look forward to for the spectators and also the competitors. Gull School Road, 27 kilometres, and it'd provide plenty of challenge at speed. And once again, Hayden Paddon just blitzed everyone. He went through the stage setting a new record of 16 minutes, 32.1 seconds. And right behind him was Emma Gilmore, once again the best of the rest.
Well, Emma's doing a great job here. She's a little bit overshadowed by Hayden Paddon's pace, but she's the best of the rest. She's well ahead of Dean Sumner at this stage, which is the most important thing for her.
Over finish into 7 left, long, tight and 5 plus.
And her time on Girls School Road, 16 minutes 59 flat.
It's a bit messy.
Jeff Argyle also flat out, 4th fastest on the stage, now improving up to 4th overall. In fact, there was just 0.2 of a second between Argyle and Patrick Malley going into the stage, and this time Argyle would come out on top. Malley was just 0.8 seconds slower, but that was enough to promote Argyle to 3rd. Chris West was the big loser on the stage, though, losing nearly 30 seconds to Gilmore and dropped to 8th overall.
And 3 right narrows.
Well, it looks like some more mechanical problems here. And Clint, I think we've really got to call him Mr. Bad Luck in this championship, because everything's sort of going wrong for Westy again.
Such a great start, and now it's just one disappointment after another. And that, of course, was good news for Dean Sumner, who was 3rd fastest through the stage, would move up to 6th overall.
Well, there's a bit of fog through the stage. It's in patchy sections, so it makes it very tricky for the drivers to drive through here, as we can see here with Glenn Inkster.
He took advantage of West's slow time, though, moved up to 5th overall, despite the fog. Kingsley Thompson, still on track, 7th place overall. Squeeze.
Oh, he's lucky there, Clint.
Yes, between the bank and the open side of the road, and of course between Sumner and West. Also starting to see the effect of nearly 20 cars pounding through this mud.
Yeah, you can see that on the road. It will make the conditions particularly slippery.
Glenn Smith maintaining his top 10 position too in 9th. Not a great morning though for Richard Mason. He really was struggling with the setup of the car, not suiting these roads, but perhaps just still trying to, avoid having a prang, Roger.
Well, I don't really know what it is, because we did know that Richard was really on the pace in the Rally New Zealand. But look at his face, he looks very disappointed.
Just 1.5 seconds back to Kieran Hall, who's working with Mason as he learns his new car, looking to improve on each rally. Matt Jansen's also turned to Richard Mason's engine tuner Dwight Scott to improve his power. And while the car was showing good speed, Matt's still not quite able to convert that into quicker times.
Well, sometimes when you put more power in the car, it will take you a little bit of time to get used to it, so probably 2 or 3 stages.
Talking about experience, well, Jeff Argyle's experience was showing in the open class with an easy class lead and a top 5 position. Teenager Alex Kelsey was back in 13th, but having a great scrap with Dave Strong's Super 2000 Ford.
Well, a big difference in age between Alex and Dave. Alex 17, Dave in his mid-50s, but they're both on a steep learning curve here with the new cars.
Marcus Van Klink, 3rd in the open class, still in striking distance of Kelsey. Once again, it was a Ford leading the 2-wheel drive battle. Well, this is a classic Ford, of course. Regan Ross, the fastest of the 2-wheel drives and the classics. And check out the noise.
Check out the lifting of the front wheels as well.
In the modern 2-wheel drive Group N class, Stephen Barker was again the fastest, 10 seconds behind Ross, 18th overall.
5 left to short 5
Well, he
right.
certainly looks pretty good through this stage here. He's carrying a lot of momentum from corner to corner. It's one thing Stephen Barker's good at. We saw Regan Ross do that in a rear-wheel drive. Stephen Barker does it in the front-wheel drive.
To 4 left minus 50.
And celebrating 40 years of active rallying, Brian Green. Great to see him back in the championship. Coming up on Rally Whangarei, the crowd get entertainment and disaster ahead on the Northland roads. Welcome back to day one of Rally Whangarei. Just 2 short stages to run in the morning. A 10-kilometre sprint along Otahi Road and then 1.5 kilometres along the super special stage at Whangarei. Conditions still perfect as Hayden Paddon is pounding out another record.
Well, another new stage, so the fastest time will set the record, and that seems to be Hayden's aim today, be the fastest on every stage and break as many stage records on the way as he can. Seems like his confidence is building over the morning.
And looking to try and take that momentum perhaps back to Europe. Coming down to the end of stage 3, what time can he do? Set the challenge for the others to follow. 6 minutes 08.3. 6 minutes 20.5 through the stage for Emma Gilmore, but she's on her own in second, so no one really challenging her at the moment. She can drive at her own speed. Patrick Melling would move up to third on the stage, overtaking Jeff Argyle, but still 18 seconds behind Emma Gilmore. Plenty at stake for championship leader going into the rally, Dean Sumner. Just a few seconds behind Glenn Inkster going into the stage. Really needs to stay in touch with Gilmore.
Absolutely, yes, Dean can't afford to let Emma and Chris West get ahead by too many places, as he could risk losing points and the championship lead advantage. Just halfway through the championship and the competition is very, very tight here. Well, Dean's got a lot of speed here at the end of the stage. Can he be quicker than Emma?
6 minutes 18.4, yes he can, but the question is, can he stay in front of this guy, Glenn Inkster?
Well, Glenn Inkster's carrying a fair bit of pace through these shots here.
Double opens, over finish, 80, repeat, log 5, right, opens. Over 5 right plus, opens.
Bit of confusion there, Glenn.
That's not good for speed. 6 minutes 23.5, so Inkster drops back behind Sumner to 6th place. Chris West moving back up on the stage too, getting past Kingsley Thompson up into 7th. That's more like it, Westy. But the end of the day, it was coming up for Stephen Barker. Just one mistake, and it was all over.
Long 4 right, 50. Just short left.
Oh, he's just got in the mud.
Keep going, can you get up? Go, 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 go. We're right. Just, have you got any steering? Long 5 left. I'm good, but you? 6 right plus to long 5 left. Can we crawl? We've got 4K to go. 4.5.
So bad luck for Stephen Barker.
Yep.
Out after stage 3. Big turnout too for the spectators at stage 4. And a conservative effort by Hayden Paddon in front of the fans.
Well, that's very important because it's only a short stage, but it's the stage you can do some damage in. And Hayden, in conservative mode, he's still leading the rally by a long way.
Shakedown, sorry, a lot looser. Yeah.
But still having fun. In fact, it was Patrick Melly who was fastest through the stage, 1 minute 0.7, but well off Chris West's stage record from 2008.
Well, Patrick Melly's really throwing this car in. He's enjoying himself through here. Very tricky conditions. But if we have a look here through Matt Jansen's car, we can see why there's going to be no stage records today with the moisture and the heavy gravel build-up. Makes it very slippery. In fact, even you, Clint, could get a car sideways through here.
Set it up, mate. You need a tractor to get through that. Looks more like a farmer's race. So after the morning stages, Hayden Paddon, a huge 1 minute 12 lead over Emma Gilmore. She has a 17 seconds buffer over Melly in third.
Much tighter from 6th to 10th, though. Glenn Inkster will have to watch out for Chris West in the afternoon, but Richard Mason will have to make a big improvement.
Kieran Hall in 11th, Sloane Cox making his way up the leaderboard after a slow start. Regan Ross leading the classics and two-wheel drives in that BDA Escort. And back at service, Hayden Paddon is a happy chappy inspired by his choice of tyre.
Hayden halfway through day one in a very commanding lead.
Yeah, so far so good. We've been sort of keeping out of trouble. We had a wee moment there on the first stage, which was a bit of a reality check. But other than that, it's been going all right. We took a fairly aggressive tyre choice this morning. It didn't quite work on the first stage. It was a bit too dry, but it worked the treat on the second two, which were a bit wetter.
Well, you got over a minute lead already. So what do you put it down to?
We just got some good notes. The car's going absolutely brilliantly. So we're just keeping out of trouble, driving smoothly. There's still a lot of room for improvement yet. There's the odd corner here and there, but we're not quite getting right. And that's the aim of this weekend, is to try and get every single corner of every stage right. So we're a long way from that yet, but we're working on it.
Emma Gilmore also happy to be the best of the rest and looking to find more pace in the afternoon.
Emma, it looks like you're sitting in the car. You've got a little job here to do in service.
Yeah, it's full team this weekend, so everyone, all hands to the pump.
Yeah, just bleeding the brake system.
Yeah, just there was a bit of weirdness in the rear. They noticed coming into service, just one side was getting really hot, so the boys have checked that out. So just bleeding the system now, make sure it's all okay.
This morning, currently second place, a good, comfortable second.
Yeah, we had a good morning. Hayden was going very fast, but we had a few small issues with the tyres, just getting everything right. But all in all, every kilometre Ben and I do together, it's getting better. It's not like we're having any issues, but it's just getting to know each other and maximise the speed, especially in the high speed stuff, like at the end of stage 2, where it's quite technical and it's really fast, and it's just getting the timing and everything right for that. So all in all, it's been a good start.
Patrick, some really good stage times this morning. At the moment, you're third overall.
Yeah, good stage times, but we're probably having a little bit too much fun out there. We need to tidy up the driving a little bit and really aim to get up in the top 1-2 places in the afternoon.
16 seconds behind Emma, who's second.
Yeah, and we want to cull that as soon as possible. We're going to really go for it in the first stage and then change the tyres around, maybe do a bit of a play and see if we can hold the lead in the afternoon. But Hayden's gone, unfortunately.
Jeff, currently 4th place at the moment, but had a few problems there this morning.
Yeah, unfortunately we're catching a little ingus in each of the long stages, which is probably costing about 10 seconds a stage. We think we'd be quite easily second, but Hayden's doing a very good job. He's just out there in front by a long way.
Catching the Suzuki, I guess it's where you catch him is a critical point.
Yeah, unfortunately both times has been a real tight section, and he's actually been weaving over the road looking for somewhere to go, but he just got nowhere to go. And if you risk it and try and shoot past, you end up off the road yourself.
Road's a little bit more slippery than you thought this morning?
Yeah, it caught me out a bit. I thought stage 1 would have actually swept off, but it didn't. It just pulled all the mud up through the base of the road and got quite bad.
Dean, a bit of a problem early on?
Yeah, driver error. Hit a sort of came over a crest and had my line not quite right and got airborne, and when I landed I was too far over the inside and went up a bank and knocked the wheel alignment out, but most of all probably hurt my confidence for the rest of the stage. Yeah, so we lost a heap of time, which is a bit unfortunate, but we managed to do a wheel alignment in between the stages and sort of get it quite reasonably right.
Looks like you're back on the pace now.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed. It wasn't the start I was really looking for, but it's my own stupid fault, so some breaks.
Regan, a big lead in the Classics halfway through day 1.
Yeah, we're having a heap of fun out there, the fantastic Escort roads, and just having a good, clean, tidy run.
Just tell us about the roads, because it probably would suit your car down to the ground.
Surprising. Some of them do. You've got to hold the steering wheel damn tight with no power steering, but the flowing nature and the camber, just the narrower cars, a joy to drive because you've got a little bit more room on the road than probably the bigger cars. But really good. You launch out of some of the camber changes and actually sort of jump out of the corners. It's quite interesting. Yeah.
And coming up after the break, we do it all again. Back out on the stages, but can anyone catch the blistering pace of Hayden Paddon? Welcome back to Rally Whangarei. It's round 3 of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. The drivers now return to repeat the morning stages. So a chance for Hayden Paddon to try and nail every corner on every stage of the rally. What a goal, Roger.
Well, that's the sort of goal you set, and you keep that goal going through the day and you will set stage records. But what Hayden's done this afternoon is he's gone for a medium type tyre. So he's obviously expecting the roads to be quite swept, and you can see there, Clint, that they are.
First run through the stage, 18:31.8. This time it's 18:15.4. Another record. Next through the stage, Dean Sumner. So, boy, has he got some catching up to do.
Yeah, Dean Sumner again is expecting the roads to be swept off. He's got no cuts in those Dunlop mediums. But Dean really has to get on the pace and has to get up to Emma's pace through this stage. Can he do it?
Coming down to the finish for Dean Sumner, already slower than Paddon. Not on the pace today, 18:54.8. Now Emma Gilmore. She's out to stay in second place. 19-point deficit to Sumner at the start of the rally. She needs a couple of positions to close the gap in the championship.
Well, Emma Gilmore must be getting used to the new co-driver, Ben Atkinson, who's got a lot of experience because he originally co-drove for his brother, Chris Atkinson, then Cody Crocker in this car, and they won the championship, the Asia Pacific Championship last year in this car. But he's a very calm person in the car, very quiet.
Let's see if it's going to be a good time for Emma Gilmore down to the finish. 18 minutes 36.5. Good time, but still off Patton's pace. That's the story of the rally so far. Issues in the morning have slowed Chris West, but the former rally winner up here in Whangarei is pretty determined just to make a comeback this afternoon.
Well, at the service just prior to the stage, the crew found there was a problem in the centre diff, so the car was not handling too good for Chris this morning. But he's on these Yokohama tyres, and these conditions now, swept road, they should work good.
His time, 18:34.3, second fastest. In fact, that takes him past Patrick Mallion into third place, but only by 1.2 seconds.
5 right 30.
Just 13 seconds separating third to seventh place now. Glenn Inkster moving past Dean Sumner on the stage, putting real pressure on Patrick Mallion.
Small crest and half, but 5 left, 50.
Gearbox problems for Jeff Argyle, lost 20 seconds and slid down the order. Kingsley Thompson in 8th, but not in a position to challenge. However, if Argyle continues to lose 20 seconds per stage, that could change for the local Northland driver.
Braking 4 left into 5 right.
Glenn Smith had been 9th overall since stage 1, but no change here. He was 10 seconds down on Thompson. And frustrations continued for Richard Mason, way back in the top 10.
Well, at the service just prior to the stage, Richard really changed the whole car. He changed the front wheel bearing, the shocks, the springs, the brakes. He's changed everything. He's not a happy man today.
5 left double apex, tightens, caution, 10 for left minus opens.
On the first run through Gull School Road, it was fog and mud patches that was challenging the drivers. But with the sun out, it's all dry and it's all fast.
All right, 100 on the bridge.
Well, Hayden Patton's on his record braking run through here. That's his aim, to break all the stage records this afternoon. Can he break this one as well? And I'll tell you what, Clint, he's got a fair bit of pace on. Look at that.
Oh, bouncing over the canvas. He is on a mission.
And look how fast it is through the end of the stage.
18, 6 right opens, K80. 7 right straightens into 6 left plus tightens short. 100, crest.
Great shots of the New Zealand champion on max attack. Now that's an APRC leader in front, Taguchi, who's pulled over. We've got problems on the side of the road there.
But look at Hayden's commitment over these crests.
Didn't even slow down.
Flat 6 right plus open, straightens to finish.
So can he break another record? Coming down to the line, Patton's pace, the story of Rally Whangarei. He's done it again. 16:24.5, sensational. Another good stage time here for Emma Gilmore. She was being overshadowed by Patton, of course, but still a great performance. In fact, if it wasn't for him, she'd be leading the rally.
Well, Emma probably wishes that Hayden Patton had gone back to Europe early. But Emma's really got her car working well in the Subaru, but not this one. Richard Mason, he's really struggling with this car, Clint.
Yes, this one's the B&T Subaru, is the pro drive car built in Europe. Compare that to Emma Gilmore's, which is the Possum-born motorsport car built in Pukekohe, and it's the Kiwi one that's doing the business at the moment.
Well, Emma's time through the stage was 16:35.6, and Richard 17:01.6, a lot slower than Emma. Emma, you just gone 11 seconds slower than Hayden through there.
Yeah, I'm generally actually happier. Like, we're seconds per kilometre, we're actually better against Hayden this afternoon, so happy with how it's all working. Ben and I are starting to gel a bit better together, and happy.
Road condition pretty good?
It's a lot better than we had it this morning. It's just dried out a bit. Sort of looking at the front cars' times, I don't know if they've had such improvement. They probably had it, I think the road did get a little bit slower before, now drying out.
So you're happy with the tyre choice?
Yeah, yep. They're wearing, so we'll see how they go in this next stage.
Richard, looks like the times still aren't quite there.
Yeah, no, the times are away. We're trying a few things with suspension and the likes, but yeah, we just haven't been able to hit the nail on the head this weekend.
What do you put it down to?
A combination of things, we had some damage at Rally New Zealand, and that's affected my confidence a bit. made some changes to the car, thinking that it would be the right thing to do, and eventually it will be, but we've got to sort of do a bit of a test session now during the rally.
So 2 cars and 2 very different results so far. Talking about results, Chris West was involved with a seesaw battle with Patrick Malley, making big gains on stage 5 so he could stretch that gap and cement 3rd place for the day.
Well, Chris West was very fast in the first stage this afternoon, but he's struggling a little bit here in the second stage, and maybe his Yokohama tyres, the soft compound, they've gone off.
5 right minus, exit flat crest over finish.
Let's see what his time's going to be as he comes down to the finish, Clint. I think he's going to be a lot slower than Emma.
16 minutes 52.6. Well, that's off Gilmore's pace. He could be in trouble. Just 1.2 seconds behind going into the stage. Patrick Malley, can he get back to 3rd place?
Well, in those previous shots, he's really trying. He's throwing this car around. Look at the steering movement he's got in this car.
Good time too for Malley, 16:43.9. He's back up to 3rd by just 7.5 seconds. Problems for Jeff Argyle, though. He would drop to 10th on the stage.
Well, it looks like that car's stuck in gear, so Jeff's got some serious gearbox problems.
So out in front is Hayden Paddon and Emma Gilmore outclassing the field, and Patrick Malley hanging on to 3rd.
Dean Sumner needs to get up and reduce that points gap to Gilmore. Thompson and Smith take advantage of Argyle's problems and move up a spot.
Plenty of action outside the top 10 too, like Karen Hall 11th, showing good reliability after the problems at Rally New Zealand in the car. Matt Jansen in 12th place after stage 6.
Well, Matt seems to have the pace, but probably on these roads you need to have a lot of confidence. He's got a bit more power in the motor, so maybe in some ways he's struggling a little bit, but these roads are very difficult to drive on.
Alex Kelsey in 13th, still second in the open class cars, but if Argyle has more problems, that could change for the better for the afternoon. Sloane Cox just off the pace today, but he was closing within 2 seconds of Kelsey on this stage.
Well, Sloane Cox probably a little bit disappointed with his run today. Being an Asia Pacific wildcard entry, he probably expected a little bit more today.
And that meant that Marcus Van Kling was 3rd in the open class, but still in striking distance of Cox and Kelsey. Regan Ross easily dominating the classic class in this Escort, 16th overall, but he wasn't doing that giant killing run that we saw in round 1 at Otago. But he did have a big lead over Ron Davey, who was back in 20th place in his Escort.
Well, to be fair to Ron, this is a 2-litre, 2-valve motor, as opposed to Regan's car, that's a 4-valve motor.
And proving you don't need to spend a fortune to compete at national rally level, this is Adam Fisher in a Toyota Starlet, probably spending less than a year than the top competitors spend on just one rally. 2 sprint stages to finish day 1, and stick around, coming up some milestones on Rally Whangarei. Welcome back. So just 2 short stages to run on day 1, and the weather has been kind, but before we check out the leaders, this rally will mark a milestone for 2 older generation drivers. Brian Green celebrates 40 years of rallying, which included the 1970 Shell Silver Fern Rally and a BMW 2002, and many Rally New Zealand events too. But it's by no means over, as Brian debuted a new Evo 10 on this rally and will use it on events around the world this year. And Reg Cook has represented Nissan in rallying from the awesome Group B 240 RS to this mighty Micra. Hangs up the rally helmet after this weekend, but reckons he has many more motorsport adventures left in him. Ben Hunt brought home his Fiesta at 18th position, first in the Group N3 class. Another class win for the Kiwi 2 Skoda of Matt Summerfield. Jeff Argyle hanging on to finish in 10th place and win the open class for the day. 9th place is not what Richard Mason would have been hoping for, but hey, you'll have to take it.
Yeah, it's not a great day for Richard at all today. Basically this afternoon is a test run, but he's really struggling with this new car.
But at least he gets to the finish, and that'll give him a chance to shake out some more cobwebs tomorrow.
Well, there is some strange noises coming out of that car too, Clint.
So a bit of work for the crew overnight. Kingsley Thompson was in 7th place, but just lost a little pace on the penultimate stage, and that was enough to drop him 3.7 seconds to 8th. So that took Glenn Smith up to 7th, he was just over 30 seconds behind Dean Sumner. Not a great day for Dean Sumner, finishing 6th place but effectively losing 11 points out of his championship lead. Another top 5 finish for Glenn Inkster, holding on just 1.4 seconds ahead of Sumner.
Great drive by Glenn today. Just shows that he's getting to grips with his car, so watch this space for this car and driver.
On stage 7, Chris West made up over 5 seconds on Patrick Malley and closed the gap to just 2.1 seconds. So down to the wire on the final stage in the battle for third.
Well, look at the big gravel build-up there as Chris West comes down to the finish line. What can he do?
It's the spectator stage and the spectacular time. He'll lead at 59.6. And some wild driving here from Patrick Malley, and that cost him just enough time, which meant he was tied for third with Chris West. Great performance from Emma Gilmore. If she can repeat that on day 2, she may well lead the championship. And what can you say about this man? Hayden Paddon, 1 minute 48.1 lead after 8 stages. Just a top day behind the wheel for the Kiwi champ. So it's Hayden Paddon who proves he is the #1 driver in the country at the moment. Emma Gilmore second. And how good is that battle for third? Westy and Malley ended up tying for third place.
And some disappointments. Dean Sumner 6th, Richard Mason 9th, and Jeff Argyle in 10th.
Kieran Hall, Matt Jansen had their own battle along with Alex Kelsey. Sloane Cox slightly disappointed in 14th.
And the ever-spectacular Regan Ross come home in 16th place, the leading historic car.
And after a record-breaking day out in front of the field, how's this for a classic Kiwi understatement from the Day 1 champ?
It's been a good day. To be honest, I haven't actually been looking at the times too much. Actually saw the afternoon times when we just got back here to service for the first time. So, we've just been concentrating on our own game today and just driving a good, clean race. And, everything's gone according to plan so far. But in saying that, there's still places where I want to be pushing harder. So, we're getting there. It's just wee small steps. But we're going in the right direction.
Hayden a little bit too quick today.
He was phenomenal this morning, did a fantastic job, and again he's done a good job this afternoon. I was a lot happy with our pace in relation to Hayden this afternoon, and tomorrow will be interesting. We're running on similar road position as him.
Championship wise, you're only 8 points behind Dean now.
Yeah, I mean, like I keep saying, we can only keep doing what we're doing, and it's very much we're just wanting to improve our game and keep getting faster. So, it's all good, and of course we'd like to win the championship. So, very happy.
I'm so lucky to come out dead even, to be honest. Westy's been putting pressure on us all afternoon, and I don't know what happens now, to be honest. We'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow.
But it's been, from your point of view, pretty good performance. Like I said, you're on the podium again.
Yeah, we came into this weekend wanting to get first. We always come here wanting to get first, so third's not where we want to be, but hey, we're on the podium. You've got to be happy with that. We've got some nice new Dunlops going on for tomorrow and put in some more Gull fuel, and we'll see what we can pull out then.
And next week we return to Whangarei for day 2, but the weather turns foul. Heavy rain will challenge the drivers. That's next week on the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship.